Okay, I will let everyone in.
All right,
Okay, Julie, you can start.
thank you. I see the usual crew is here. That's good. Okay, hopefully we have a few more joining us, but I'll get you started on what equipment we're using today and we'll go from there. So today is a paddling day, so we're going to do a little bit of kayak paddling for our cardio portion today. So if you have a cane, a dowel, a broomstick, something that will space your hands apart. I've had people use umbrellas and other fun things. So as long as it's something rigid to space your hands apart, that should be just fine. We're using our physio band for our resistance portion. And then if I budget my time accordingly, we'll be doing a little bit of low body work for those who are able, and that is where we're going to be using our pillow, or you could use a yoga block instead. I actually have one handy here too. Maybe I'll demo with both later. Or even just a rolled up towel, sweatshirt, whatever you have close to you. So that part is maybe. We'll see if we get there or not. And we are going to get ready to go. So that's it for equipment. Of course, always have your water bottle handy and take a drink anytime you need it. I'll cue a few water breaks as usual. I don't think I officially introduced myself. Of course, the people who are on the call, you know me. I'm Julie from Ocean Rehab and Fitness, and thanks for joining me today. So you can be back on your chair for some back support to begin with. Shoulders are set low. You can take your eyes to close just for a moment. So we're sitting in a relatively relaxed position in our chair, but we still want to be aware of posture in this way. So let's start with some belly breathing, actually. That'll be our main focus for this portion of our class, just to tune into our breathing. So nice even breaths in and out. And maybe the even breaths in and out have already made you sit a bit taller in your chair. If so, that's perfect. We're going to activate our core muscles, and you are welcome to have a hand there if you like that extra feeling of feedback. But you're pulling belly button actively towards your backbone, and then inhaling, filling up your belly like a balloon. So exhaling, belly button to backbone, inhaling, imagining that you can fill your belly like a balloon with air. So we have to, think a little bit differently about how we're breathing if we're activating our core muscles for some belly breathing. So you might, do a bit of a louder exhale and have that feeling of belly button to backbone. Still just a nice even inhale, exhale though. Don't force anything, of course. Whatever is feeling comfortable for you today. Good. So just some belly breathing to activate our core muscles to start with. All right. And then because it's been a little bit since we've talked about this, I believe I might just chat with you for a minute. So you can continue with that breathing and just listen to me for a moment. Or you can open your eyes and watch what I'm doing, whichever one you prefer. So as we were activating those core muscles, our transverse abdominals, our deeper of our core muscles, we're working to help pull belly button to backbone. Of course, when we are moving about our day and breathing at a normal rate and not just focusing on a big inhale, exhale, those muscles can't work at full power the whole time, or we tend to hold our breath while we work. So I'm going to do just a quick little reminder for you about our transverse abdominals and how we can get those guys activated as much as possible to help us. Because they're our deepest core muscles, they're also arguably some of our more important core muscles. And they really help to prevent lower back pain or lower back strain, depending on what we're doing and how we're moving. So I'll try to give you a few reminders on those today, but the best way to do that is I actually like to find my hip bones. So you can kind of poke yourself and find your hip bone points and then work just inside those hip bone points to the fleshy bit. right inside there. And from there, it feels like a seat belt of muscle turns on when you fractionally pull your belly button in and then release it. Good. So maybe you feel underneath your fingertips that little extra bit of tension forming between your two hip bone points as your belly button pulls in slightly. So it's not the big suck in of breath. It's just enough to activate the muscles, and then we can release them. These muscles are supposed to help support us all day long, but they kind of forget what to do, especially if we are seated in a bit of a scooped position. So if we can spend at least some of our day in a more upright hip position if possible to activate those core muscles, that's the ideal. That's even easier to find, those core muscles, when you're lying down on your bed. So if you want to do that same exact thing we were just doing, find your hip bone points, find the fleshy bit just inside your hip bone points, and then practice a small belly button squeeze. Should not restrict your breathing, should just be enough to feel that bit of tension form, which is the support structure of that muscle forming there. Okay, enough talking. Let's get moving. We'll remind you on a few of those points throughout class today. So let's do bicep curl, tricep press as our first warm up today. As we're doing this, I might multitask a little bit, and because we didn't do our neck warm up that we usually do first. So slow down your bicep curl, tricep press enough that maybe you can also focus on a slow shoulder check. Maybe you do a bicep curl or two while you're there, and then back through center, and then the other way. If you would rather do just one of these exercises at once, that's fine too. You can come back through center. We're just going to shoulder check each way one more time. So you'll look over one shoulder, hang out there for a moment, back through center, and look over the other shoulder, and back through center. All right, we're going to take our arms to a longer press, listening to your shoulders. So if your shoulders are not ready for a full overhead reach, that's just fine. And I think we'll also add a little bit of head and neck movement with this one as well. So we're going to look down towards our lap, staying in a nice long spinal position otherwise, up through center, and then up slightly towards the ceiling, and back through center. Look down to your lap, look back through center, look up diagonally upward towards the ceiling, so not directly up overhead, but slightly forward, and then back through center. Last one here. Awesome. All right. We're going to take those arms into bent elbows and do just a nice side lift. And we're going to do one last neck warm up while we're here too. And that'll be ear drop to one side, back through center, ear drop to the other shoulder, back through center. Again, if you don't love these two things in combo, when you'd rather just do one of them, that's fine with me. Last one here. And other side. Awesome. Okay, good. Let's do a little bit more shoulder warm up. So we're going to go up, out, in, down. Whatever side you're on, you're going to stay there for a few. So reaching up, elbow comes out, in, down. Last two. And one. Good. Let's do the same thing on the other side. We're going to add another piece to that in a moment, but for now, the same movement on that second side. Up, out, in, down. If you've joined us recently, our equipment for today is a dowel or other object that you can use for a little bit of kayak paddling for our cardio portion, and then a physio band and perhaps something like a rolled up towel or a small pillow, your sweatshirt, something like that. Last one here. Good. Okay, we're gonna do a little bit of our rotational warm up next. So both hands are on same side lap. Doesn't matter which way you go first. Gentle rotation. This is our first rotational move of class today. So just kind of noting how you feel as you do this one today. And maybe you're gonna stay in a smaller range of motion if your back is maybe not loving this today. Or maybe you decide you don't want to rotate today. It just doesn't feel right. Last two. And one. Okay, getting a little bit fancy, nothing too crazy today, but we're going to go back to our arm movement. So we're gonna go up, and then as we come out, maybe we're also doing our rotation in and down. So up, rotate, and reach with that elbow, in, down, up, out, and down. Three more. Two, and one. Awesome. Let's try the same on the other side. We'll start just with that rotation, just to check out how it feels on this side today. Good. We'll do two more like that. And one. Awesome. And then we'll add in that other piece. So arm's going to come up, out as we rotate, and down. Up, out, and down. Three more. And two. And one. Awesome. Last main thing is a hinge and a little bit of a reach. So both hands are on your lap to start with. This is a good time to test those transverse abdominals as well. So belly button slightly to backbone. Again, not enough to restrict your breathing, but just enough to feel that tension form between your two hip bones. Try to keep that contact point as we hinge. If hinging's not available to you today, you are welcome to stay at your chair back. Transverse abdominals working as you press into your chair back. Make sure wheels are locked and that you're in a safe spot to do that, so there's no tip hazard. Good, or forward hinge. So let's just do one more like that. Awesome, and then we will hinge with a reach. So one hand is still on your lap for support. We're gonna stay on this one side for 5, low, reach, and row. So reach forward, pull in as you come tall. Two more. And one. Awesome. And then the same on the other side, coming tall, hinge is optional, reach and row for 5.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? And one. Awesome, come up tall. Okay. All right, so I can't actually see if somebody else has joined us, but hello if you have. We're just finishing off our warm up. So let's do shoulder set and do just a small rear arm rotation. Shoulders are facing forward though. We aren't rotating through the spine for this particular one. We'll get the blood pumping a little bit more doing this one, and then we're gonna grab our paddle. Good, last 3, 2, and 1. And then little forward scoops as well. Getting bigger as you go if those shoulders are feeling warm and ready for a bigger movement. Good for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. All right, I'm grabbing a drink of water. I'm also grabbing my paddle-like object. So again, just something that's rigid and spaces your hands apart will do just fine. We are going to do some intervals, but they're not going to be timed ones today. So we're just going to kind of alternate between different sizes of movement and change things up a little bit here. So when you're ready, just give me a relaxed kayak paddle, if there is such a thing. And we're going to start with a little bit of postural reminders as we get going here. So if I'm suggesting you do a close paddle, that's dependent on what's working for you based on your chair setup. So if a close paddle means clearing the wheels of a chair or something else that makes it a little bit wider, that's totally fine. If you're able to come to a nice close paddle where the paddle's almost like touching your thigh as it comes past on each side, that is good too. Anything in between. So let's do a little postural check. We're sitting up tall in our chair. From our hips right up to the top of our head. So we're getting that nice long line. This is a good time again. Now the transverse abdominals are being tested because both of our upper limbs are moving at the same time. So we need those transverse abdominals to help stabilize our trunk. So slight belly button to backbone. You can test that out. If that's feeling like it's something that you can hold without holding your breath, perfect. You can see how much you can call on those transverse abdominals today to help you. If you find that it makes you hold your breath, of course, I would rather you enjoy the class and not feel like you're holding your breath for the class. So do just kind of pay attention to how it feels and adjust accordingly. Okay, let's pick up the pace just a little bit. Always working at your own pace, of course, so whatever feels good for you. We didn't talk too much about shoulder blades today, which is unlike me, but we are keeping those shoulders away from our ears as we paddle. So the movement is an arm movement. It's not my shoulder squeezing up towards my ear as I do these strokes. Good, slow it back down again. And start to lengthen out to the side a little bit. So do watch the area around you. Make sure you got enough space to do that. So we're doing like an elongated figure 8 to the side. We're going to change up our pacing a little bit throughout here. So actually, I think we'll go to, I do really like the low, medium, and higher intensity kind of visuals isn't the right word, but planning for a class. So let's go back to our small kayak paddle or close kayak paddle and head to a medium intensity. So meaning that you could maintain this for some amount of time. It feels like work, but it's quite doable to keep going at whatever pace you're going at. Good. And then we're going to pick it up to a higher intensity at this close paddle. So that typically, especially in this case, just means paddling a little bit faster. You could start paddling a bit bigger too. So the more vigorously we move our arms, of course, the more we're getting that blood pumping, right? Good. And then come back to your medium intensity. And then let's slow it down. Just this regular paddle, nothing fancy yet. Slow it down. Think about posture, like every press with the paddle makes you sit really tall in your chair. Awesome. We'll do last 2 and 1. I'm going to take just a little pause. You're going to shake it out. You're going to kind of see how that first little burst went. And if you need to change anything in your pacing as we continue here. So whenever you're ready, after a reset, maybe a drink of water, you're going to go back to your paddle again. And we're going to change things up a little bit. Okay, so let's go back to those longer paddles. And we'll make this our medium intensity. So we're working at a manageable pace that feels good for you. Good. It's pretty hard to pick up the pace with these bigger arm movements. So in a moment, we're going to go back to our close paddle for our higher intensity. So here we go, last 2 and 1, higher intensity, back to our close paddle at our knees. Checking in with that posture, shoulders away from your ears. And then coming back to our longer side to side paddle again. This is our medium intensity. And then we're going to slow this one down. So our lower intensity usually involves a little more core control, a little bit of balance even. And this is as we start to go slow, can we really reach for that paddle stroke off to the side? Hips should still be both cheeks in contact with the chair, but a little bit of a weight shift, of course, to the side that you're moving towards. Good, last 2, nice and slow. And 1. All right. Back to our close paddle, but we're going to switch that up right away. So our close paddle is going to become our longer reaching paddle out front. Again, pacing to whatever feels good for you today. So we'll stay upright for this paddle for now. This is our medium intensity. And then we're coming to our close paddle again to pick up the intensity again. We'll just do this one a few more cycles through. So nice, close, quick paddle. A little higher workload here. Good. And then back to our medium intensity paddle, which right now is our forward reaching paddle. And then we're going to start to slow this one down. So we're going to slow it down 2 different ways. You'll see it come back again in a few. But for now, we're going to slow it down with a hinge to reach. So again, if hinging isn't available for you today, at the chair back, doing a long reach with your arms, or adding that hinge to get some extra length to your reach forward. Good time to check out those transverse abdominals again. Are they working to support you? Good, let's do 3 more each side. 2. And 1. Awesome. Back nice and upright to our upright forward reach paddle. 1 more round like this. So long forward reach, but upward positioning through the torso. This is our medium intensity.
Hello.
Hi there. How are you? Okay, we're going to go to our quicker paddle. This is our last time. Quick paddle by our knees. And then slow it down a little bit, medium paddle out front. And then slow it down even more. This time we're adding rotation. So our reach out front is upright, but with rotation. Slow it down. Only rotating as far as it feels comfortable for you. So again, in our warm-up, if you decided that Your back was not loving the rotational warm up today. Perhaps you're not doing this one either. Good, let's do 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna take another little reset. So maybe you relax your hands off the paddle, maybe you grab a drink of water. That's the bulk of our core exercises done, but I'm gonna do a little bit more paddle work with you. And we might still get that blood pumping just a little bit again. And actually, so here's your options. If you are pretty much done with the cardio portion for today, you'd rather just focus on some muscle work now. You can go at a nice, even, comfortable pace here. It does not need to be speedy. If you would like to still pick up the pace, we're doing a forward press. And then, so really like a row motion, right? With the paddle. 3, 2, and 1. And then we're gonna do the same thing overhead. So maybe this is nice and slow and controlled, paying attention to those shoulders away from your ears, or maybe you want to add a bit of speed still to your workout and you're picking up the speed just a little, or pace just a little bit. 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then we're all going to go to just our medium pace as we put both of those things together. So forward press, upward press. We won't be here too long. Shoulders get tired doing upward press for this one, I know. Good. Last 2.
Are you excited for 2026 New Year?
Sure. Yes. Okay, so we're gonna do our forward press as our slow down now. So hinge, reach, pull. If you feel like you need extra support, maybe you're having the paddle at your knees instead to hinge and come back up tall, or slowing it down for a row. Good, we'll just do 2 more here. And 1. Awesome, reset those shoulders. We're gonna do the same thing, upward press. Let's do actually a couple with both arms even. So slowing it down. You can kind of imagine that whatever you're using as your paddle is quite heavy. So both directions, you have to really control the move. Good, 2 more like that. We have 1 more change up here, and this is our second last thing to do with the paddle. Last one. Okay, and then our last thing is a little bit of a, I guess, diagonal press. So we're gonna press with one hand to come up and down, and then the other side. So this is a side flex. We're using some oblique muscles, our side core muscles. Good, we'll just do 1 more each side. All right, let me just check one thing here. Okay. All right, I promised you one last thing with the paddle, so we're gonna do that now. And that's gonna be our forward roll and backwards roll. So kind of thinking like you're spinning something around a wheel or a barrel. If you are able to come slightly away from your chair back with support, then we have both the forward flex and the sit back. Or if you need to stay at your chair back, that is of course absolutely fine. Good, we'll do one more like that. And then you'll back up the bus, change direction. Last two. And last one here. Awesome. So as promised, we are done with our paddle. You can set that away and we are getting ready to use our physio band. Grab a drink of water if you need one. Okay. So I think it's been a little bit since we did banded pull aparts, and those fit kind of nicely into a paddling kind of class like we've just done. So they use our shoulders and all the supporting structure around our shoulders to keep us in a tall posture, and then arms both pulling away from each other. So let's do a little bit of a reminder for our shoulder blades by doing that French bread break that we've been doing in class quite often. So tall in your chair, you can be at your chair back or slightly away, whichever is best for you. Shoulders are set and band is extended just above your knees out front. So you're imagining that you're breaking a loaf of French bread in half. Really what we're doing is rotating at the shoulder joint to get this set position. Hold here, breathe, and reset, bring it down. Good. So let's do that again. You can notice maybe you sit a little taller in your chair as you turn those arms in and get just a little bit of tension on the band. Another good time to check in with your transverse abdominals. Can you get that little bit of belly button to backbone feeling? And
My cousin wanted to join the Zoom meeting and it's locked because he wanted to join your meeting.
yeah, I think it's too late in class for him to join today. It's actually better if he does the full class with warm-up so that he's safe for today, but we can chat about it later, okay? Okay, so we're gonna use now the band, that position that you felt where your shoulder blades sit in place. We're gonna use those as we do our banded pull aparts. And actually one more thing before we get started on that, set the band down just for a moment. And do it just with your hands. So if you imagine that you're grabbing onto something, we'll use taffy as an example, it's a good one, and pulling it in two different directions and then resetting. An elastic band, which is really what our physio band is anyway, right? And reset. Good, one more. Whatever side you've chosen as your top arm, that's what you're going to do now with the band. If that caused any discomfort, or you know that the range of motion on its own without the band is enough, then that is just fine. Or give yourself lots of band to work between here. It doesn't matter how big the move is. I would rather it be a smaller move with really good form. So shoulders away from your ears, one arm reaches diagonally up, the other reaches diagonally down. Good, let's do 3 more on this side. 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. Reset, shoulders are set low. This side as well, you might set down your band for a moment and just test the movement on its own. So how's that feeling from a shoulder perspective today? Are you comfortable adding resistance to that? If you are, you can grab that band. We're going to do 8 on this side as well. Shoulders are set, core muscles engaged. Here we go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, I'm going to do one more exercise just strictly with the band, and then we'll add one other piece to this for our resistance portion today. And really this is just a long arm row. Before we were going in the diagonal direction, so now we'll be going wide out to the side, but just with one arm. And then we'll of course do the other side. But this one you got a couple of options. So if you would like to keep the band in a stable place for your support hand, it'll be crossbody on your knee, and you're going to do this row or this long arm press back from a low position, so hip level. If you would like to punch your arm forward, and that will be your stable side to press, you're going to go a little bit more like low rib cage level to pull back. So your choice. Here we go. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And then the other side, you have the same option. So hand can be on your lap for that support to press, or hand can be extended forward, a little more workload on that support side as you press back. So here we go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. I'm kind of of two minds as whether I want to keep using the band or not. We're going to set it down. Probably will not grab it again. We're going to use our pillow / yoga block / rolled up blanket, whatever you like, just briefly here. This one is a bit of a lower body exercise. If that's not available to you and you would like to be back on your chair doing some more of those transverse abdominal practices, we're actually all going to be doing some more of those anyway. So belly button to backbone, coming up tall. If you are able to have that pillow or yoga block, I think I'm going to use my yoga block today, actually, wedged between your knees. This is just a little chance to get inner thighs working a bit more. So wherever the spacing is for your knees, your feet or your ankles are going to be directly underneath. So for example, if I have a wider object, my feet are also going to be ideally wider. So I actually kind of like it better with the block this way. So this is a even hip bone kind of spacing for me between my two knees. And we're just doing our squeeze and release, just a little squeeze and release. So we are activating inner thighs, our adductor muscles here. Last 2. And 1. And then again, adding on other pieces, pick the things that work best for you today. So I would like to add transverse abdominals first. So again, that's belly button to backbone, just enough to feel that connection point between your two hip bones. And then 3 squeeze and release. So let's go squeeze, release. Remember, don't hold your breath. Squeeze, release. 1 more. Good. Do a little reset. We're going to do that 1 more time, and then we're going to add another piece. So belly button slightly to backbone, transverse abdominals turned on, inner thighs squeeze, release, release, and 1 more squeeze, release. Okay. I'd like your transverse abdominals still to work for this next one as well, but I'm going to let you decide kind of how it feels from a multitask perspective, because we have a few different things going on here. I only want you to keep the object between your knees. It doesn't have to be a super squeeze. And then we're going to come to a crossed arm position. So hands are up on your opposite shoulder. And we're going to do a tiny bit of rotation. So the knees are facing forward on that even spacing. We're going to rotate. And then our core muscles, that oblique, pulls us through center. Rotate, pull through center, rotate. So it's tricky if your transverse abdominals are not super tuned into day-to-day use to use them at the same time as we rotate. It's a pretty tricky thing to ask of them, but we are using our oblique muscles right now to engage for that rotation. Last 2. And 1. Good. All right. We're actually going to take, I don't know how comfortable this is going to be, but we're going to take our object that's hopefully softer than the block that I picked just up to our lap for a moment so that we can do a little hinge exercise with maybe a bit of support here. So if hinging is not available to you, you'll be at your chair back, just thinking about a nice tall spine, even breaths in and out. If you would like to hinge and use your object that you had between your 2 knees as a bit of an extra support, kind of resting your belly on it as you hinge forward, you can go ahead and do that. We'll just let our low back relax just a little bit in this position. Nice even breath in and out. And then come on up nice and slow. Awesome. We don't need this block or pillow anymore. You can set it away. We're getting ready to stretch. And I think I'd like to do a couple of really big reaching stretches to start with. So kind of like our banded pull aparts actually, but we're going to reach straight overhead, same side. So you're going to go big breath in and release. Do the same side again. Big breath in and release. One more like that. Big breath in and release. Let's do 3 on the other side as well. Breath in, reach up and release. And again. One more. And release. Shoulders are set low. Hands come to about chest level out front. We'll open up wide out to the side. Take a breath in and release. Do it again. The next time as you come back through center, you're going to come around and give yourself a hug. Stay low. Shoulders are low, elbows are low. Good. So cross over to hug your arms around you. Let's take a breath in and come tall, and a breath out and rotate just slightly. You might hang out here looking over your shoulder for a breath or 2. And then come on back through center. Let's open up our arms, reset other arm on top if that feels okay. Same arm is okay. And then do the same thing. Breath in, come tall, breath out, rotate gently. Take a couple of breaths while you're here, maybe shoulder checking. And release back through center. You can unwind yourself from that one. As you know, my favorite chest stretch is the one where hands are either on our hips or in our back pockets. If you're able to move slightly away from your chair back, we just get that little bit more space for the stretch. Shoulders are set low to begin with, elbows pull back, hands press into your hips. And maybe chest rises just slightly, so your gaze might also rise to look towards the ceiling, but forward in its gaze, not directly above your head. And then you can ease your way out of that one. Good. We're going to do that one more time and just add one extra piece to it. So both hands are at your hips or behind your back, pressing your hands into your hips, elbows come back. If you would like to add just a little bit of neck release at the same time, we're going to we're just going to look down to our lap and slowly shake our head back and forth. If you find any spots along the way where you want to pause and take a moment there, that's absolutely fine. Good, and then head comes back through neutral. You can unwind those arms. We're going to slide back in our chair for some back support now. We'll do just a little bit of forearm release. So just take one hand and just shake it out at the wrist. Good. And then you can take that same hand and extend it forward. Shoulder is set, gentle pressure through the back of the hand. Or the other thing you can do is interlace your fingers and put some gentle pressure there. If my elbow is straight, I'm getting a nice stretch, hopefully, through the forearm there. Good, you can release that side. We'll do the same on the other. So just do a little shake out. And then you can set that shoulder, extend your arm, gentle pressure through the back of the hand, or again, you can interlace instead to get that stretch. Good, you can ease out of that one. Our final breathing exercise slash release and relax exercise, I'm going to turn to the side just so you can see me a little better from the side, is going to be a little bit of thoracic spine opening. Do make sure that you're safe doing this. So if you have a chair with a lower back, you're going to stay upright and just do the chest rise without the draping portion that I'm going to tell you here. So if your chair, as you push back too far, becomes a tip hazard or something, make sure you're not doing that, that you're staying nice and upright and not kind of pressing against the chair back, especially if there's nothing up higher for you. Hands can be on your lap, on the chair, sides, or at your armrests, whatever your setup is today. First, we're thinking about spinal position. Just nice long spine here. So taking some nice even breaths in and out. Next, we're thinking about our transverse abdominals because we've been thinking about them for the whole class. We might as well do a little bit more of that now. So I can keep them engaged as I take some nice even breaths in and out here. And then the next thing we're doing is thinking about our mid-spine area and whether we can do just a tiny bit of a drape over the back of our chair. Again, be safe, please, as you do this, depending on what the back of your chair looks like today. So that drape brings our gaze slightly upward. If I'm looking farther, it's my head and neck putting, like I'm putting pressure on my head and neck that don't need to be there. So reset, try it again. So chest rises because we're opening up and extending through our thoracic spine. Taking a couple breaths while you're here. And then reset. We're just going to do that one more time. So coming up tall, again, if it's available to you and safe to do, thinking about extending through your spine, taking a breath or two here, and then resetting. Okay, so let's finish class with eyes closed just for one moment, just checking in with your body at the end of class today. So you can take your eyes to closed. If you still feel like tuning into those transverse abdominals, I'm not going to tell you not to, but you can be a little more relaxed now if you feel like they've had quite enough work for now. Something to remember, just kind of remind yourself throughout the day as you're moving about to try and get those transverse abdominals to do a little more work for you. Helps to protect our low back and just makes our torso kind of stronger to respond to whatever things we're asking it to do, like reaching forward to pick up a package or something like that. Good, so nice even breaths in and out while you're here. Kind of checking in with your body to see how you feel after class today. Good, we'll take 2 more nice even breaths in and out with eyes closed. Awesome. And then, as always, we will finish off our class starting low, reaching towards the ceiling, 3 big breaths in. Last one here. Thank you. I'll be hanging around for a few minutes if you would like to chat.